boys and girls. This week we're going to continue If You Live with a Cherokee. But first, let's talk about our new words. Okay, we're back to A. And we have short A, but it's different this week, okay? It does not make the A sound. It's paired with R. And so it gives us an R sound, even though it's AR. So sharp, parch, which if you're parched, you're thirsty. Sparse, if there's not a lot of something, it's sparse. Now, here's where you really have to concentrate and study this word, sparse. It does end with an E, but it does still go with our short A because it's just colored by the R. So pretend like that E is not even there, okay? Except for when you do your spelling test, you better remember that it's there. So short A, sharp, parch, sparse. Now, we have three different ways to do the long A sound. We have A consonant E, AI, and ARE. So we have plain, made, pain, plain, made, tray. I'm going to have to stop myself right there. Okay, I said this word, plain, Plane, okay? That is like an airplane, okay? But look right here, plain, Plain. That is like something that's not fancy. If you get a plain baked potato, you get a baked potato that has nothing on it. So you are going to have to not only study how it's spelled, but what it means in a sentence, because you're going to have to listen to the sentence that we use it in so that you know what it is on spelling test. Same thing right here. We have made, M-A-D-E. I made dinner, okay, to create something. Maid, M-A-I-D. That's somebody that might come and clean your house, a maid. So again, plain, plain, made, made. They are both long A sounds, and they are words you are absolutely going to have to study because you have to know what they mean as well as how to spell them. Then we have trait, and then we have ARE, where we have spare and share. It's different than the R over here. This has an air sound to it. Spare and share. Okay, so one more time, let's go over these. Sharp, parch, sparse, plain, made, pain, plain, made, trait, spare, and share. We have a new vocabulary word for today. It's settlers. Settlers are people that come from they go to a new place to make a new home. We are about to find out how the settlers from Europe drastically changed the lives of the Cherokee. All right, now we are going to continue with If You Live with a Cherokee by Peter and Connie Roop. What did you eat? There was plenty to eat in Cherokee country, and you could eat whenever you were hungry. There were no regular meal times. Wow, no regular meal times. That's another surprise to me. So I'm going to stop and self-monitor. I would thought that the woman would prepare the meals and everyone would have to come in and eat, like at my house. But that's not what the words say. So remember that sometimes when the words say something that is different from what we thought, we have to stop and self-monitor our thinking. Depending on the time of year, you would have plums, grapes, berries, mushrooms, wild greens, persimmons, nuts, and wild potatoes. Corn was a favorite meal, cooked in soups and stews and ground into meal to make bread. Beans, pumpkins, squash, and sunflower seeds from your garden would also taste good. You could add honey or maple sap boiled into a syrup to sweeten your food. Meat came from the animals of the forest, meadows, and streams. Deer, bear, elk, buffalo, squirrels, birds, frogs, fish, mussels, and crayfish. All right, and then they have just a little picture down here of the different types of foods we eat. How did you hunt and fish? Hunting was the work of men and boys. They used bows and arrows to hunt large game such as deer. Sometimes they used spears. Blowguns and darts were used to hunt smaller animals, rabbits, groundhogs, squirrels, and birds. Before a Cherokee boy could use a bow and arrow, he first had to prove his skill with a blowgun. And here's a picture of a boy learning to use his blowgun. Fishing was another important skill. You might use bone hooks or box traps made of cane to catch trout, catfish, and other fish. There was even a way you could get the fish without using a hook or trap. First, a dam would be built across a stream. Then, horse chestnut juice would be put into the water. The juice put the fish to sleep. You would wade in, pick out just the fish you needed. Then the dam was knocked down. The running water woke up the remaining fish, which swam away. Isn't that cool? I'd never heard that until I read this book. Were there special hunting ceremonies? Yes. When hunters were going off on a big hunt, the whole village took part in animal dances. These dances were held to make certain that the deer hunt would be successful. There were different dances for different animals. The beaver dance and the raccoon dance acted out the hunting, killing, and skinning of these animals. The buffalo hunt dance was performed by men and women acting like a bull and cow buffaloes. The bear dance was a fall favorite. The Cherokee believed bears had once been human and were the 8th Cherokee clan. And they show them getting ready for their dance, for their ceremonies. Because of the Cherokee belief that animals had their own spirits, it was important to show respect for their lives. Before a man could hunt, he had to pray to the animal's spirits and ask permission to take their lives. If there was trouble with the hunt, the people believed something had gone wrong with their ceremonies and prayers. In the early times, Cherokee men hunted only for food and skins that they needed to survive. After the new settlers came, they hunted more beaver, more bear, and more deer skins to trade. Animal skins were in such great demand that in 1 year, the Cherokee traded over 1 million deer skins. And here's a picture of them trading with a settler from Europe. See how differently they're dressed? How did you make a canoe? You needed a canoe to fish or travel on the many rivers. You would use a dugout canoe. A dugout canoe was made from one long log. The best wood was poplar or pine. First, the tree would be cut down and the trunk shaped to a point at each end. Then fire was used to hollow it out. Dugout canoes were made in many sizes. Small canoes held 2 people. Large canoes could hold 15 to 20 people. Some even held 35. You would use a long pole to push against the river bottom to move your dugout. Most dugout canoes were too heavy to be carried, so they were kept on the same river. And here's a picture of them, and they're using fire to hollow it out. If you had no canoe and had to cross a river, you would build a raft from a bear or buffalo skin. You would tie the legs of the skin together at each end to make a raft. You would put your belongings on top, then you would swim across the river, pushing your raft through the water. And there's a picture. I think it might be easier just to get a canoe. Now, we're going to stop there for today, but let's talk for just a minute. All right, so when the settlers came, it definitely changed the amount that the Indians hunted, because before they only hunted exactly for what they needed. But when the settlers came, they had things they wanted to trade for, so the deer skins became like money, and so they got extra so that they could trade them. The canoes that they used are very different from the canoes that you see today. Most of us don't go around in many wooden canoes anymore. They're made out of fiberglass and other materials. The boys had to learn to hunt. Hunting was their job, but first they had to learn to use the blowgun. And I think that's about it. We'll continue with our story tomorrow. Thanks for listening.